Right, hello. So we'll do a live stream. Now, obviously, because this is a Sunday, I don't usually do them on a Sunday, a bit like how I don't usually do them on a Saturday, up until now, because like I said, not doing the job I used to do. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this goes, see if, people tune into it or not. I'm just going to get the different interface up because now they do the new live stream interface. It is a bit better. So I'm going to get that up if it loads. There we go. And we'll see if anyone comes on. And again, the dual stream option still doesn't work for me, so it's not like I can do that. So I'll set it to the live chat and we'll see in a minute if anyone comes on. Now, obviously, the main news today is there has been like a mass shooting in Australia. I'll try, because of YouTube policies, not to bring that up too much, because obviously it's not really a fun thing to talk about on a live stream, and it, a lot of the things to do with it are all sorts of things that YouTube probably doesn't like us talking about. So we won't talk about that too much. All right, Stalker of an oil lantern. I wonder if, because this has a hood on it, what this would look like. Yeah, it looks kind of all right like that. Yeah. Not an NBC hood, though, just a sort of comfy hoodie sort of hood. But yeah, the room's going to get too hot. I already know that, because I've got the two lights on. I probably only need that one light on. Let me just flick that one off and see what it looks like. But yeah, that does add quite good lighting, just having that one. Yeah, cheers. Like I said, it's that modern Russian Shums, and it's the one, like the GP, not Shums, the SHM 2012, whatever it's called, the Shum 2012, where the older models are actually better quality, because the older models had more like the GP5 style intake exhale valve. These have a cheaper, sort of crapper plastic one. But at least it's got an all right voice diaphragm on it. Again, similar eyepieces to this Chinese one. But yeah, let's see if we get a decent amount of people on. If not, then I'll call it an early night with this live stream. Right, Rich. Hope you're all right. Like I said, I don't normally stream on the Sunday, but because I'm not doing the job I used to do now, Saturday and Sundays I'm not working. So, well, at least not working in the style of the work I was doing before. So I've got quite a few machetes. Don't have any handy to show you right at the moment, Mafia Crew, but I do have a few videos. I had a couple of cold steel type ones, like the cold steel Gladius. What were some other ones? I had the cold steel Gladius. I had a couple of just, like generic kind of various style machetes. I've got more swords than machetes, in all honesty. I'm going to take that off now, because with all those lights on. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Stalker. I forgot to tell people to do that. Yeah, don't forget to like the stream. Yeah, don't forget to like the stream. It helps me in the algorithm, potentially. Oh yeah, a little thing I got for my phone today. Again, it's not a complicated thing at all, but because people were whinging, well, not whinging, they were rightfully complaining that in some of my videos of the phone, where I'm like trying to do that with my phone to get an angle, it's sort of shaky cam. I've got one of these like magnetic little kickstands for my phone now. I'm not sure with the magnet that's on the back of the phone case if that's going to potentially, it seems to be holding it up all right. I was going to say, if not, it does include like you can wipe it and stick like a stronger magnet onto the back of your case. But, if I can get away without doing that, I won't do that. But yeah, it does seem, actually looking at that, like you wouldn't be able to hold the phone up by the weight of this. It's definitely not strong enough to do that, where I've seen some people use these like a grip. But it's definitely good enough that you could use it like a kickstand. Although saying that, if they include like a little alcohol wipe, I'm just going to put their proper one on anyway. Let's see how strong the one they include is. So there's those bits. I probably have to do this after the stream, because you all obviously have like an alcohol wipe, don't you? They haven't included that. So obviously they include these little magnetic discs. So how strong is the disc compared to yeah, that is going to be way better with one of the discs. Yeah, because it's hard to get that off there now. Fuck's sake. I suppose I can just take that off by peeling off that bit, can't I? And then doing it that way. Yeah, so what I'll do is after this stream, I'll yeah, get an alcohol wipe, clean the back of the phone, then probably stick it on using that, because like I said, although my case is kind of magnetic anyway, it's not really magnetic enough that I can use this properly. So yeah, I'm just going to probably, yeah, do this as it is. Don't know what these bits are for, because obviously the adhesive for these is there. So users, yeah, compatible case or supplied adapter, but it's a bit suggestions for removing this phone stand: slide from one side to the other. So place a transparent film on the phone case first. Oh, then place adapter to film. Okay, so but why does the thing have a thing on the back of it then, like that? If that's not the bit you peel off. I'm a bit confused, but because if this is the sticky bit they want on your phone first, and I don't know why they've done it like that, but. Because yeah, this is literally just like a sticky glue thing, isn't it? So yeah, that's glue. I might just put this on now. Back in it at the surplus and nest. Yeah, as always, I'll put it in there now because they give you a set of two. If this one doesn't stick very well, then I'll do like a proper alcohol wipe and do it that way. I don't know. I'm going to quite put that other bit on there though, because so place transparent film on phone case, place adapter to film. But you're obviously going to need this to peel off first to make a sticky sticker. Ah, there we go. So do that like that. That was obviously just a backing material. Then, yeah, put this like that there. Hopefully I've put it the wrong way around. Oh, it's magnetic, so it doesn't matter, does it? That's all right. Ah, good. And then that other bit has stuck to that side. Right, good. That's what I wanted. Yeah, and good. Look, now this is actually working like that. I'd still be careful holding it like this. But yeah, the point is now that, yeah, I can use the, yeah, I can use that stand thing on it properly. Still, yeah, it's actually a bigger sticker than the ring. But yeah, good. So, yeah, but just that way, it's just when I'm filming videos using the phone in vertical short mode or whatever, I can get that on a bit more efficiently and, you know, have less camera wobble when I'm doing a short. So yeah, that's what I intended that for anyway, when I'm like filming stuff like that, just up close for a YouTube short. I wonder if this on, if it will still sit on my charger all right on the desk. Ah, cool, it will. Right, that's good to know as well. So yeah, I don't actually have to take that off to charge it. I imagine if I'm using the magnetic charger on my phone, which I never bother with, I'd have to take that off. But yeah, for doing that. Right. Anyway, so if people want to talk about stuff that isn't the depressing news out of Australia, we can talk about stuff. If not many people come on, then I won't do a very long stream today because I've had a pretty busy day. I had to get up well before 7 a.m. today because even though I'm used to getting up that time at weekends early anyway. So yesterday I woke up at before 6:30 anyway, because that would be the time I'd normally get up for work on a Saturday. Today I had to get up early for a delivery, and I woke up at that time, you know, prior to my alarm clock again anyway. I had a Morrison's delivery because I had shitloads of Fray Bentos pies come today, and one of the videos that's coming up one of the days this week is a review of their festive turkey pie. So not necessarily normal content, but because Fray Bentos stuff is a bit like an MRE, I mean, it's not ready to eat, but it's like long life canned goods. It is kind of channel relevant. And I did demonstrate cooking it in the air fryer, and the reason I wanted to do that is a lot of people don't realize that if you put a Fray Bentos pie in an air fryer, it actually cooks really well. Whereas if you do them in a conventional oven, that's when people whinge about them being a bit soggy, you know, and whatever else. Whereas in the air fryer, they come out almost perfect. So everyone I've done so far in the air fryer has been great. All right, Itis Classic. So yeah, so I'm already quite ahead again, which is nice with videos, although a lot of them are short. So probably what I'm going to do most weeks is mostly do shorts with 1 or 2 longer length videos. But I've already got I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 videos. So I've got a video scheduled for like essentially midnight tonight, so tomorrow, all the way up until the 18th. So yeah, I'm getting quite ahead again, which is nice with getting videos scheduled, which is a nice feeling. Because again, I just feel a lot more motivated now. I'm not, you know, in a job that's sort of sucking the life out of me. So yeah, just trying to think of stuff to say. And again, like I said, I want to do streams most days, but there obviously will be days where I won't be able to do a stream if I'm not around the house or whatever, or there's just too much going on. Christmas Day, although I sometimes do a stream on Christmas, this year it's going to be quite difficult to do a stream on Christmas because I'm spending a lot of it not at home. This, yeah, it's not a ghost filter, it's a GOST. So GOST, and I'm assuming you don't mean on content, you just mean on the thread. So a GOST filter is a slightly different 40mm thread pitch. So basically it's again, I can't easily show you this, but I think it's GOST is just what they call RDX40. And the NATO ones RDX 40X4 or whatever it is, 1/7 twist. So it's the screw twist that's different. They're both 40mm, but the NATO ones have a different screw twist. So basically you can have an identical filter with identical contents, but it's just the way they connect to the mask. They're both 40mm, but they're a different different pitch of 40mm screw. So GOST was the communist standard through the Warsaw Pact, Soviet Union, China. Even though China had the Sino-Soviet split, they still use GOST. NATO is obviously STANAG is the standard for the NATO countries like America, Britain, you know, West Germany, but now just Germany, you know, all of those. That's her loss then. But yeah, I like Fray Bentos. I mean, I know there was, interestingly looking them up, there was one point where Fray Bentos had a, yeah, it's 40mm thread. And it, as a general rule, I'll go to your comments, sorry, in a minute, Rich. As a general rule, I just want to do the 40mm thing before I forget. As a general rule, sometimes GOST filters go fine onto NATO masks, but generally not the other way around. Because generally the GOST filter thread pitch means that you can kind of push them onto a NATO mask and they just about seal all right. Whereas if you try and force a 40mm NATO filter onto a GOST mask, it normally grinds it in. DIN, as far as I'm aware, Rich, was the old name for what 40mm NATO became, because DIN, I think, was an old industrial standard. I think it was like Deutsch Industrial Standard or something, because I think the Germans that like to do this, that was their standard of filter. And yeah, I think that was just the 40mm everyone went back to. So I think DIN is just like the industrial name for it, if you like. So why we call it sort of now 40mm NATO STANAG, because it's most famous for being, you know, like the one that's the NATO standard in basically all the Western world, is, you know, like kind of like, you know, an ammunition standard. It's the filter for connection standard. I think DIN was the old technical name for it, but nobody really calls it that anymore because of the fact that, you know, it's been surpassed by its like NATO standardization number or whatever. But anyway, Rich, you were saying you finally got some suitable axles for your new heavy compound bow. Should be reaching 365 feet per second under, is that ideal conditions? That sounds interesting. Want a Geiger counter? Yeah, I like Geiger counters. One of the blokes I used to work with came over this evening to have a look through some of my stuff and be polite and say hello, and so we could have a catch up. Because again, some of the people I work with or used to work with, I still get on with. It's just, the job in general got to me in the end. So yeah, that was really nice. We just had a catch up and that, and he was playing with some of my Geiger counters and some of my Diac guns and that. But again, the Diac guns I can't show on the live stream. I was just checking to be really careful then that there wasn't anything right behind me, because obviously we were messing about with stuff like that. But again, I can't speak too much about those because, again, like we said on a YouTube live stream, they sometimes get funny about things like that. So annoyingly, yeah. But again, there's a Geiger counter I've got coming. It'll probably come in the new year after Christmas. And that's like meant to be an all right modern Chinese one. Again, you might have heard this yesterday, Kevin. And there's custom firmware for it. So what I want to do is when it arrives, see what it's like before putting the firmware on it. Do a tutorial on how you install the firmware, that like the open source firmware that the guys released for free online, and then see how much better it is with that firmware. And yeah, that might be an interesting one, because again, it's a sub £50, $50 Geiger counter. And again, like I said, for about £100, $100, you can get a GMC 800, which is I really like. But for the sort of sub $50 price, if you can get something that works and that with custom firmware is pretty good, then it'll be interesting to see. I've seen other channels that recommend it, but like I said, only a couple of channels that seem to be really into radiation type stuff. Because the problem is, whenever you see a prepper type channel, and again, no insult to anybody that's a proper prepper, but you know what I mean with when I mean the prepper type channels, a lot of the time when they recommend stuff, it's kind of like the Myra stuff or whatever, where they don't really know what they're talking about. It's just they've either been sponsored by a certain brand to recommend a product, or they don't really know if something is good or bad on the criteria of why they got a load of them. Because again, unless, like I said, like a proper physicist sort of person would be much better to talk to than me. But I like it with the Geiger counters that I kind of have a very, very amateurish crap understanding of physics while I find them interesting, and that it's kind of a bit of survival kit. So I'm looking at both how good they are technically and how good they are as a rugged design, battery life and whatever else. Because again, there's some very nice lab Geiger counters, but they'd be absolutely useless for a bug out bag, or attaching to your body armor or whatever else, because of just how fragile they are. And obviously, for most people, I think you'd rather have something that's less accurate, but not going to give you false readings, which is less accurate, but is going to survive, being taken about. Because you can have something that's the most accurate counter in the world, but if it gets broken really easily, then it's just a paperweight, isn't it? And it's again a very different thing, it being in like a nice dry lab on a workbench, some of these, than if you had to lug it about on your equipment and not break. Because like I said, like with something like this, I haven't done any drop tests on this, and I wouldn't want to, because I can't replace it exactly if I break it. But stuff like this, like I said, is very good. And again, this would be much better to have on you like that than it would be to have some of the things. Again, I don't know if you can even get TMU cheap tier counters, Rich, because the thing is with the Chinese counters is like things like this are almost bottom of the line now, and they're not even that bad. Like I said, I just wish this had a ticking option you could turn on, but these aren't bad counters, things like this. I'm sure some people would say they're bad, but what I mean by they're not bad is the fact that they detect radiation. When I tested them, they detected stuff when you expected them to. The numbers are about right. Yeah, I know their ranges aren't that great and whatever, but people have to have realistic expectations. So if you're spending like $30 on something, although you can get those like fake TMUE kind of AliExpress ones where they're just electromagnetic sort of radiation detectors, that pick up just like, if you put them near a wire in your wall and people say they're Geiger counters, like, no, that's not a Geiger counter. A Geiger counter is specifically for ionizing radiation, not, there's some electromagnetic interference. Oh, the ANVDR2 is the really, really cool one, isn't it, Kevin? Let me have a look. If so, that's the one I've wanted for years and never been able to find outside of America. Yeah, that's the one I really like. I mean, I prefer the one in Civil Defense Yellow, because they did one of those as like the CDV 718 or something, didn't they? I've got a mini rad, and unfortunately, I think the GM tube died on that. But yeah, the ANVDR2, that's the really, really nice one. That I think, doesn't that measure up to like an insane amount of grays, doesn't it? And like Rontgen's on the yellow one. But yeah, with something like the Bradley though, it's because in theory, even though they didn't share a top rate, it's just a case of turning it on and reading what the screen says. They're like the really user-friendly ones. But yeah, with stuff like the Bradley, I think because they're overpressure vehicles, aren't they? So what I think the cool thing with Bradleys and a lot of other military vehicles is like the more modern NATO style ones is they're overpressure, like CBRN rated. So essentially, as long as you're hatched down, the air pressure inside the vehicle is greater than the outside. So, you're not going to breathe anything in from the outside. You get some degree of protection from gamma rays and X-rays because of the thickness of the armor, and distance means you're getting a lower dose inside. Well, the Harry Potter logo looks like the Civil Defense logo. I know in one of the Harry Potter films they have the Ministry of Magic Police that are dressed like the SA from Nazi Germany. Oh, I said the bad word. Radia code for walking around with PDRM82, just because of the fact that it's a lot smaller and lightweight, and I like the mapping utility. This, if I'm actually going to be using it for measuring stuff, especially because this has the pin diode detector on the back, so you can measure alpha and beta sources more realistically with it. But yeah, it depends what you want it for. If I could only have one, probably still the radio code, just because I like how small it is. So, it literally can be buttoned up in any of your pockets, and you can have it on you to warn you about stuff. And it's got quite a good app that goes with it. But the Mizao, I'd say, is actually a better detector, but it's just that the Mizao, is in some ways less user-friendly. But let me just, so I'll just search what Deathly Hallows logo. I'll just search that. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, because it's that triangle looking thing. Yeah, I can completely see what you mean now. But yeah, the thing, is it the Deathly Hallows Ministry of Magic Police? I'm just going off on a tangent now. Yeah, if you search Deathly Hallows Ministry of Magic Police, those uniforms are blatantly based on the SA. It's just rather than wearing brown shirts, they've got like those they're more like a blue-gray sort of looking thing. But yeah, that was just the main thing when I saw that in the cinema with my dad yonks ago, whenever it came out. That it just itted me out, because again, I know it's a parallel to fascism and the Deutsch, that specific. There you go. I'm just going to put the picture here, but that's, looking at that look, that's blatantly just the brown shirts just with blue. Again, I don't know how you even spell Sturbag Dialing, because I know Schustoffel is the SS, but I can never remember the actual word for brown shirts. Brown shirts, Germany. Sturmbataillon or something, I'm saying. But yeah, if you get the pictures of them up where they've got the thing, it's the same kind of like a cross belt thing, isn't it? But I won't link to a picture of those, just in case then YouTube thinks I'm encouraging that kind of ideology. I suppose the Ministry of Magic ones, though, don't have the funny, like, bloomy trousers, or whatever they call them. I've just got a message from somebody. Yeah, you could do that with quite a lot of like vehicles, sort of in the Cold War. I'm trying to think if there's any film like that. You've got films obviously where, like, that are quite close, sort of paranoid sort of films about tank crews and that, because you've got like The Beast or The Beast of War, and you've got Lebanon. Lebanon's like shot almost entirely from in the tank, isn't it? And when you see outside the tank, it's like filmed through the scopes, or like when people pop their heads up when they've got the hatches open. Again, I can't really remember a lot of the Harry Potter things, weirdly, Rich. Like, I can remember, I have to look this up. I can remember the first couple really well, because obviously they were when I was in primary school, and I probably watched them to death on the DVD. Like Chamber of Secrets I really liked, and the Chamber of Secrets game on PS2 was quite fun, where you kind of had like a semi-open world of Hogwarts. There was also the cursed PS1 game I played to death as well, with the funny faces. Yeah, it's just a pronunciation. Sorry, Battle Tommy, that I'm not going to imagine that. Yeah, sorry, not going to imagine. Not imagine. It's just one of those words that just in my head, it kind of, I imagine it's what it's like to be dyslexic. Because again, I don't actually speak German. It's just, mein Deutsch ist nicht gut, sprechen Sie English, danke. But yeah, Sturmabteilung, is it Sturmabteilung? But yeah, I was just saying, it's just I thought like it's just with like how the bout was and all that, and like the kind of just shape of the hats. It was, again, in a lot of media, people go, oh, just make them the Nazis, because that's an easy way, isn't it? If you're doing villains in films, to make a uniform without much effort. Something, you're Bruno, are you? Okay, so again, it's one of those things I could just watch a documentary and then like phonetically copy it, but yeah. There is that series. I don't know if it's any good, because I've heard some people recommend it and some people say it's crap. Is it Babylon Berlin? That might be worth watching. So like I said, the Mussolini series I really liked. And again, like I said, I'm not a fan of these ideologies. I just like the history behind all this stuff. Again, like if there's a really good communist kind of thing like that, I'd love to watch the communist type things as well. It's just my favorite one of those Cold War songs. There's two I really like. Uranium Fever, that's a good one. It's gone and got me down. Uranium Fever. Do, 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 do. Respond to what? MHST. Sorry. Oh, Modern Filter I need for a Hungarian M35 gas mask. Hang on, let me have a look. But the other one I liked is When They Drop the Atomic Bomb, about Douglas MacArthur nuking China. And I'm not saying I approve of Douglas MacArthur's idea of nuking China. I'm just saying I love how much of a Fallout Jingo-tastic-y kind of, stupidly over-the-top Americana song it is. Right, so let me look up the Hungarian M35 first of all. Because again, I'm crap at remembering lots of masks off the top of my head now. So that's like what, like a really old World War II looking one, is it? The M35? Is that the MD35 or is that something else? MD35 Romania. Yeah, right. There's a gas mask wiki page on it. Does it say what kind of filter it took? It's a 42mm, so I'm afraid I have no idea. So you'd need to find some way of downsizing a 42mm port to a 40mm port. But again, I have no idea how you do that, because even if you had a 3D printer, I know 3D printing like adapters they're like too porous or whatever, and they let air through. So I wouldn't recommend 3D printing stuff. Which one's the RDS 110V? Let's have a look. But $800. Again, if they're in fully working condition, isn't that the same thing? Or is that a more modern one? But sadly, do you reckon they're ITAR, Kevin? Because again, now I'm not working, I can't afford to buy something like that. But that's the sort of thing I wouldn't mind buying through somebody in the US to have shipped to the UK. But I imagine stuff like that and the US CDV one, even though it's not military, is probably sadly ITAR restricted. Because the one I really like is the CDV 718, which is essentially just that same meter but in yellow. But yeah, technically, out of all the counters I know, that is the like best one in terms of, below whatever you're going to get as background range to Chernobyl levels of you're dead in a second kind of radiation. Let me check what that maxes out at. The like the PDVR2, whatever it's called, and that other one you were on about. So I have a feeling that it says it goes up. Is it like 10,000 rads or something similar? It goes to. It's something stupidly high. 600-hour battery life. That's pretty good. Because again, there's the RDS 110V and there's also the RDS 100V. And I don't know what the difference is between those because, again, they look pretty identical. Similar looking probe, almost the exact same looking unit. I'm assuming the 110V is more modern and better, but... yeah, it doesn't say on there, but I know that they are like some stupidly high rate. Oh, there is a data sheet. Let me click that. Data sheet, right. Does it say what the top dose per hour is? Hang on. Probe, the beta, it even detects beta radiation up to 5 centigrade an hour. So beta over essentially 5 Rontgen is insane because how easily beta tubes saturate. Most of my Geigers do it to like 500 millirad at most. But here we go, gamma radiation, 0.01 microgray per hour, which is under background radiation. You're never going to get it that low anyway, to 999 centigrade per hour. So 999 centigrade, that's like 999 Rontgen. So yeah, it like maxes out 1,000 Rontgen. I thought there was one that went even higher than that though, because I think one of my older US ones goes to 5,000 rad. But that might be like a specific probe for it. But again, it might be different models. So that's the RDS 100. Let's see what the 110 does. Again, it's probably going to depend on the probe, isn't it? Yeah, because one of them only goes to 50 millisieverts an hour, but that's, again, a different probe. Yeah, this one, gamma radiation, 0.01 microsieverts an hour to 99.9 sieverts an hour. 1 sievert is about 100 Rontgen. So that's like, what? So 10 sieverts would be 1,000 Rontgen. So that goes like to 10,000 rad. Yeah. Again, so yeah, the 110, that's a nice bit of kit. Oh, yeah, but can't afford one. I bet their ITAR restricted. Like I said, if I got one, I'd much rather have one in CDV yellow in the old Rontgen things rather than micro grays or centigrade, just for the retro, you know, kind of thing of it. What, like one Kevin might need more of a vehicle like power supply and the other could run off like AA's or whatever. I think the problem with a knife in a zombie apocalypse, if we're talking about just theoretically, wouldn't be much use because it'd be quite hard to either, with a regular knife, I suppose a big machete or sword might be different, but sever the head or destroy the brain with a little knife. A bat, at least, well, I wouldn't say a bat, but some sort of mace-type bludgeoning instrument would probably be better because it'd be quiet and... yeah, I get you. So it's a bit like with the various like radio sets different people would have, Kevin, yeah, where you can have ones that are pretty similar models and pretty similar looking, but some are more designed to sit in a vehicle bay, others are more designed to be on somebody's back. It depends which old detectors. Like, yeah, the good old US ones are. A lot of the UK ones, sadly, aren't. Like, the older UK ones are, like the British Mark II Radiac or Radiac number 2, whatever it's called, and then the upgraded MD3s, but not the sadly not the PDR M82s afterwards. And I saw there was a guy with PDR M82 in his name, wasn't there? PDR M82s go haywire if you get them near high voltage electricity. Which particular message, Josh? What am I doing for Christmas? Going around my granddad's probably, so I probably won't be able to do a stream Christmas. I don't know. It's going to be a bit of a weird day for me, Christmas this year. So, again, I don't really know the timings of how anything's going to work out for me this Christmas. So it'll be nice. I'll be seeing family, but it's one of those ones where some of the day will be here, some of the day will be at relatives, and I don't really know how the timings are going to work out. So, you know, where some years I can say to people, oh, yeah, I'll definitely be doing a stream or whatever this year for Christmas. This year, I really don't know. because it depends what time I'm going over there, what time we get back, what time we then have our Christmas dinner, you know, if relatives want to come over, all that sort of stuff. Because a lot of years, it's really kind of when we have a Christmas, it's been almost like, you know, X relative always comes over at whatever time, you know, where it's almost like clockwork, you know, give or take maybe half an hour of people getting ready or whatever. But this year's a bit different. So all right, hopefully you have a nice time, Josh. But yeah, so yeah, what was I going to say? I won't be on too much longer because, like I said, I'm pretty yeah, it's a bit annoying because they obviously do different probes for them, don't they? Because of the fact that I think mine's down there. Yeah, I can see the wire, but I can't get it at the moment. I need to clean it up at some point because it's like it's got a bit grimy where mine's been sat kind of just, you know, in a sort of storage space, collecting sort of dust. And the main thing I hate is when, because it gets humid in here in the summer, you get like, it gets like wet in the air in a sense, like with the moisture in the air, and then all the dust clings to stuff. So yeah, I haven't kept batteries in it, so it's perfectly good on the inside, but I definitely need to give it like a good wet wipe down on all its little bits, that PDRM82. Dirty. Yep. I'm assuming with a probe, I'm trying to remember what connector that uses, because you know where they had the ROC post probes for the PDRM82s, where you could have the thing on the top of the pole to put the Geiger tube up the thing. I'm assuming that's not the same connector for that, is it? Because then that would be a different probe. But yeah, like I said, but it's just a gamma probe by default, isn't it? But yeah, like I said, it's one of those things that, you know they did do different probes. It's hard to find out info on it, isn't it? It's that sort of thing. But yeah, out of the old Cold War British stuff, my favourite's the number 2 Radiac. Well, specifically the MD3, because you can run it on D-cell batteries and it doesn't need the old fucking obsolete batteries that make it impossible to run. But yeah, I need to do a video at some point, because I don't think I did a video on it and I got it working. Somebody on eBay at one point was selling like an old art project MD3, where they got an MD3, you know, like painted it and done it all up probably for like some school or college art kind of project, and then they sold it and it was, you know, sold not as working, and it wasn't working when I got it. But if I remember right, it was just like a corroded battery compartment or something, so I was able to clean that up. You know, I swapped a couple of bits out with other MD3s I bought when they were really cheap. Oh, it's a different type of connector. Yeah, I'll have to look up, because again, they're probably like some sort of old aerial connector, aren't they? But again, I can't remember without looking. But yeah, so I'm assuming it's not something. Let me just see if I can get at that 82 of mine. Come on, you bastard. Yeah, this definitely needs a clean. Shouldn't have batteries in, so I can't turn it on. It's a strap that's caught on something with a little sounder. Yeah, it's caught on the mantle. Yeah, that's filthy, so I'm not going to get that up and show you all that. Look, that's all. That really needs a clean. That's we have a battery in that. Yeah, that needs a really good clean. I'll do that tomorrow. Oh, that's got a battery in it. I shouldn't have left the battery in it, but there we go. But yeah, the probe connector. That's this bit, isn't it? The probe. So obviously I can see where the sounder connects. Yeah, I was trying to see how the probe connects, but it probably connects on the inside, doesn't it? East German stuff, right? Again, I'm going to put that down there because, like I said, that's pretty filthy and it needs a clean. Because, like I said, the problem is that's got damp at some point, and then like every bit of like dirt and dust and grime in the room has obviously landed on it and then just stuck to it. Because I had to clean a load of my old DIAC guns because of that reason. Like, again, won't talk too much about them because of YouTube's stupid policies, but like where they got a bit of oily kind of finish on them, you know, like especially to keep rust off. Any like dusty kind of crap sort of stuff like pollen in the air or anything like that obviously just lands to them and sticks to them. Accent jump scare, I don't get it. People probably just get worse over time, Joshua, I imagine. Right, East German, because you mentioned East German stuff. If I don't type which one's the K200? The Webley I love, but again, the Webley's kind of a bit anemic. It's weird. It was obviously really powerful when it was a new gun, but when people have tested Webleys next to 1911s, they're a bit anemic. So what's that? A Smith & Wesson model K200, is it? I kind of like that one. I don't know much about it. There's another cool one, Forgotten Weapons did a video, and I'll just say quickly before going off the subject, because, you know, in case we talk too much about it and upsets YouTube. What was it? The one that, have you seen that weird double action revolver Britain had? That it looks a bit like a Webley, but it's not a Webley. Again, there's a Forgotten Weapons video on it, but it was like, I think, like a simplified, cheaper production sort of thing that looks like a Webley, but it's not a Webley. I'm just going to quickly look this up for you, what it was. So, Forgotten Weapons, British World War II revolver. Is it this one? Scotland's only World War II military firearm, Albion Motors number 2. I think it's this one, Albion number 2 Mark 1. I think this is the one I'm thinking of. It looks a lot like a Webley, but it's not actually a Webley. Anyway, when you're about East Germany, just so I don't forget, again, I've done a video on this where we're on about radiation detectors and all that earlier. Yeah. This fucking thing. So it, yeah, this thing, like I said, I can't power it up without connecting it to an external power supply. So I think this runs off a 12 volt or whatever. I can't remember now. But the one where it's got all the weird little pictograms on it. I just click live to see it on the big screen how that's looking. Turn it that way around so you can see the pictures. Oh, it's got to be that way around, isn't it? For the... Again, I'd love to know what the picture graphics mean on this. So where it's got 50 milli Rontgen, it's got a picture of a gas mask, some socks, some bread in a house, a gun, I think that is, and like a shirt. And then at 200 milli Rontgen, it's something like a vehicle, a plane, a rocket, an artillery gun, a ship. And then at 0.4 Rontgen an hour, you've got a big rocket, I guess what's meant to be an armored car and a tank. Maybe it's saying these are acceptable levels if you're doing these things. Like if you're a medical person, you are some bread in a house. Oh, has YouTube stopped my stream because they thought this was a gun? No, good. I was worried then YouTube was going to give me a strike thinking this was a gun, but thankfully they didn't. Things to hide from. What, gas masks and bread in a house? And yeah, it has a weird mechanism on this, look. So you have to crank it to change the radiation level. So although this clicks like a Geiger count, yeah, it does look, doesn't it, like a little tiny like anti-tank launcher or something. But no, this thing is really weird. So it has headphones where it ticks like a Geiger counter. So it does have a Geiger tube in there. But how this thing works is it's a bit like the Polish radiation alarm, where each of these numbers you can set it to with that little drum is the alarm threshold. So what you do is you put it to the lowest alarm threshold. If the alarm goes off, you move it to the next one. You move it to the next one. You move it to the next one till the alarm doesn't go off, and then you know your radiation level is somewhere around that. Just literally because they don't have a fucking thing on it. you know, like a little screen, a little needle to actually show you what the radiation level really is. I know what that bit means, where it has the two, it's like the protection factor of whatever the thing is, the 2, the 4, and the 10. That's to say, like, you know, like a regular car gives you a protection factor of 2 from radiation. An armored vehicle gives you protection of 4, and a tank gives you protection of 10 in terms of, like, you know, reducing the exposure from gamma rays or whatever coming at you. But yeah, it's a very strange detector, this one. So yeah, it goes from 0.2 millirontgen per hour, the first alarm threshold, and you can put it all the way up to 300 rontgen per hour. It's a very strange detector. So it's called an RWA72M. Like I said, this one fully works. It's just very, very strange. It was last quality checked in 89, I think that is, or is it 84? In February, either 84 or 89, according to the quality sticker. So that sticker is from a country that doesn't exist anymore, East Germany. Well, it's not necessarily for a vehicle. This is the whole thing with this, is you could have it in a vehicle, but you could also have it as a person. That's why I'm saying it. It gives you the different measurements. And this end bit that looks like a battery cap, I don't think it is, if I remember right. Or actually, no, it is, sorry. It's a battery cap. It's just that, you know, you can't use it with very many conventional batteries, if I remember right. Because, yeah, I tried to rig it up with some batteries there. And it, like I said, how I ended up getting it working was to just connect this, you know, like the spring there, like the rear spring and the side of the case, whatever it is, to just some croc clips and then attach it to a car battery or whatever I did it, or my variable power supply. And then I figured out what the power it needed is. But yeah, it's a very, very strange thing. This. It's literally like one of the Polish radiation alarms, just made to be way, way more complicated because it's German. They decided, you know, rather than just like the Polish one having a 0.5 and then whatever the other 2 radiation limits were on it, this thing just has loads of various alarms on it and little picture diagrams, whereas the Polish one is literally like, here are the thresholds for setting the alarm off. I think the Polish one I put handy near this just because I thought it was a good example to compare and contrast them. Yeah, there it is. This is the one with the back cover off. So this is my broken one. Oh, there goes some bits off of it. But yeah, it's the 0.5, 5, and 30 rontgen thing. So it's basically like this Polish radiation alarm, just made to be way, way, way more complicated than it needs to be. Anyway, I'm going to pop to the toilet and end the stream now because I've been on, what, about 50 minutes or so. 3.6 rontgen. Not great, not terrible. No, it doesn't increase the shielding. It's just the electronic threshold. So it's literally just you're changing the resistor thing or whatever for setting off the alarm. So yeah, it's literally just a case of just switching between loads and loads and loads of different settings for when the alarm sounds. So essentially, I think it's just yeah, because like I said, although it does tick, it obviously doesn't have a needle or anything. So it's just increasing the like resistance that way until the alarm things. Anyway, yeah, salute. Right, see you all. Have a good day. Like I said, I'm going to pop to the toilet and then get an early night because, like I said, even though I don't work weekends now, my body clock still wants to be doing the hours I'd normally work at a weekend, and I did have to get up early for a delivery this morning. So yeah, I wanna have a bath and go to bed, I think, and then tomorrow have a morning where hopefully, again, I've still got a bit of a cold or whatever I've got at the moment, flu, cold. I don't really know what it is. It's not, like I said, it's not awful at the moment, but it's still not great. So anyway, hope everyone has a good evening, and I will try and do a stream tomorrow at some point. Again, don't know what time of day yet. Get some more videos filmed and get, you know, a short or a regular video out each day again at the moment. But yeah, bye-bye. Yeah, anyway, have a good day, everybody. See you all hopefully tomorrow.